4.2 is probably the easiest section we're going to have. It's called graphing polynomial functions, and the graphing part is really just concerned with the maximum real number of zeros, the maximum number of x-intercepts, and the maximum number of turning points. And as you probably remember, the zeros and the x-intercepts are the same thing. They're just written differently. So those are my zeros or my x-intercepts. Turning points are just where we go from increasing to decreasing or decreasing to increasing. So these are my two turning points. And the rule is the maximum number of real zeros or x-intercepts is the same as the highest degree of the polynomial. For instance, this polynomial has a maximum number of 3 real zeros or 3 x-intercepts. Maximum number of turning points is equal to degree minus 1. So this polynomial has a maximum number of 2 turning points. On this polynomial, the degree 4 polynomial, it has a maximum number of 4 real zeros and a maximum number of 3 turning points. Fairly simple. And the only other thing you're going to do in this section is the intermediate value theorem. So here's a graph of my polynomial. All the intermediate value theorem says is if I have some value on x and its corresponding function value, and some value on x and its corresponding function value, then every single function value in between these two is hit at some point. What it means to you is that if one of these values is positive and the other is negative, then it crosses the x-axis at some point in between. So let's look at a few typical problems. You'll be given some equation and asked whether the intermediate value theorem guarantees a zero between these 2 points. All you're going to do is plug in one value and plug that in your calculator and see what you get out, and put the other value in your calculator and see what you get out. And if the signs are opposite, you are guaranteed a zero between those 2 points. So let's try another one. 4x squared minus 3x minus 6. Does the intermediate value theorem guarantee a zero between -2 and -1? Well, when I plug -2 into this equation in my calculator, I get a 16 out. And when I plug -1 in, I get a 1 out. They're both the same sign. There might be a zero in between, but if they're the same sign, you cannot tell.